Welcome to BOOKMAS day, whatever day it is.
You can meet me at my hotel.
I have all these books here, and none of them got to be in reading vlogs, and I was like, well, I read them, I may as well just review them. So I'm going to review them. The first book that I want to talk about is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This book has been very popular. Everyone always describes it as, you know, a really quick, fast-paced read. That is because the writing is very easy to understand, and it's very much like, I walk to the door, I open the door. That kind of writing, you know. From what I remember about this book, the main character has a criminal history and no one really wants to hire her except this one lady. Now, this lady that wants to hire her is called Nina, and she needs basically a housemaid, hence the title Housemaid. And so when the main character, I don't even know what her name is. What's her name? I don't even remember what the main character's name is. All I know is that Nina, she's very weird. She constantly makes messes and constantly lies. She will say something and then backtrack and be like, I never said that. Why would you think I said that? You know, she's very strange. Now, one thing I don't hear anyone talk about in this book is how much the main character drags Nina for her weight. She's always like, oh, Nina's not, you know, looking after herself. Nina is just
Nina.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Nina looks like she eats whatever she wants. Nina hasn't got like her roots done. Nina this and that. I was just like, leave Nina alone. All right, now that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to like spoil the book or anything. Was this book predictable? Yes. Yes, it was. And this is coming from someone who, when they read thrillers, they don't really try to guess every plot point, you know. I just sort of read it, and if things stick out to me, I'm like, oh yeah. But I mean, I have watched every single episode of Criminal Minds, and I have watched and read many thriller pieces before, so it was very predictable. The entire time, she was just looking at Nina's husband like, he'd be so much better with me. He'd be so much better with me. I was just like, stop being so insufferable. Would I recommend this book? Honestly, I don't know. It's very easy to read. It is, like I said. And it's very fast to get through. Is this her debut? I feel as though this could be her debut. Normally when it's an author's debut, I'm not as harsh just because I'm like, well, it's kind of like their first book. Also, when I say it's kind of like their first book, I mean because just because it's the first book they've published, it does not mean it's the first book they've ever written, and chances are if they're an author, they've written quite a lot of works that have just never seen the light of day. The next book I want to talk about is Powerless. This book is basically if you take a whole bunch of fantasy stories and blend them all in a blender, and then you get this. And even though it's very similar to so many other things, I enjoy reading this book. I read it in a few days. When the new book comes out next year, I will be purchasing it because this book does end on a cliffhanger, as most books do, so you do buy the sequel. I just realized something. This place is called like Ilya. Isn't the same place as like the Selection series, that book? See, it's just kind of a mix of just all the things. And I don't know if anyone else kind of got this, right? But the guy, Kai, is his name Kai? I'm so bad with remembering characters' names unless they like make a really lasting impact on me. Then I will remember them forever. But I think the guy's called Kai. He even gave me a little bit of... No, I can't say that. I can't say who he reminds me of because everyone's going to be like, where would you get that from? Never mind. But basically, in this society, there's just everyone has powers, right? And anyone who doesn't have a power gets killed. That's it, right? And Peyton, the main character, she does not have a power, but she's just like, I'm a psychic. And what she does is she just like analyzes people's body language and things and is like, oh, so you're this, you're that, you're that. And then she gets it right every time because she's just really good at analyzing things, right? Now, Kai, he can basically take people's powers. So when he gets to Peyton and he can't take a power, it's like, hang on a second. But she's like, no, that's just because I'm a psychic, you can't like whatever. And there's this thing called like the purging trials where basically a whole bunch of like elites, because people have powers, are sort of thrown together and have to like basically put through challenges. Have you seen warning for a minor spoiler, I don't give away anything of the plot, I just sort of say one of the things that happens as part of the purging trial. So if you want to go into that blind, then I would skip forward a little bit until I'm holding up the next book. Or read the Goblet of Fire in Harry Potter, you know, like all the challenges there. It's basically like that. Literally the last challenge is a maze thing and I was like, oh, this is so Goblet of Fire. But yeah, would I recommend this? I actually would. And also remember, this is this author's debut novel, and I thought it was really good for her debut novel. And the thing is, she was just so nice. One of the things I really don't like are when authors are nice, like in their dedications or their acknowledgements, when they're like, thank you, reader. I'm just like, no, I can't be mean. And she was just so nice. I did rate this book 4 stars. I am going to buy the next one. I really did enjoy it. Anyways, moving forward, we're going to talk about Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is like a series. And it's basically reimaginings and retellings, even though she literally says at the very start, what does she say? She says something like, it's not a fantasy or a retelling. No, but it basically takes all the characters, all the little things. The main character, Wendy, her dad is Peter, and he owns like Nev Airlines, and it's a flying company. I liked little things like that in this book. Now, basically, it's like between Wendy and Captain Hook, and it's a series, and all the rest of them are like other retellings of things. And I will admit, I like the writing in this because, see, I need to make sure this is an appropriate page to show you. So, see that kind of writing there? Yeah, I like when it's bolded. I like when it's like that. Now, this book, this was so insta-lusty from the get-go. And the thing is, I'd be really intrigued, and then there'd just be something so overly sexual for no reason. And I was just like, why? Why did you have to add that? Like, why? There is miscommunication, kind of like really bad in this book. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna read the next one. I will admit this book was a pretty good palate cleanser. I'm pretty sure I've read this in a few days as well. Let me just say, the spy scenes were terrible and very cringy and just like, what am I reading? I feel like this could be her debut novel. Is it? Next, I'm going to talk about The Handmaid's Tale. Now, I don't really know what to say about this book. I actually did take some notes because one thing about me is that I don't have the best memory for certain things, and so I need to like take things down in the moment. So The Handmaid's Tale. Oh yeah, I was basically rereading this book, and look, I annotated and stuff. Look what I did here. I did color that in myself. See what I'm talking about? But this was mainly a reread, because sometimes when you read something a really long time ago, you look at things through rose-colored lenses and you can't remember all the stuff that was like, oh. Now, basically, in this book, all women are stripped of their reproductive rights. Every woman who's fertile is sent off to some man to procreate. Now, I personally did not like Offred. I didn't like her. The main character, she just didn't do it for me. And I'm not saying that I want to like all my characters, because some of my favorite book characters, I actually hate them. But I just did not, there's just something about her that I didn't vibe with. What I will say is I 100% recommend the audiobook to this. You know, there's a TV show for The Handmaid's Tale, and the main character who plays Offred in the TV show, she also does the narration of it. I'm pretty sure you have to pay for the audiobook, but you know, you're not going to hear this from me. Just if you look it up on whatever platform you're currently watching this on, you look up this in the audiobook and it should come up. This book was definitely very complex, and I actually found this book terrifying. It just was very unsettling. Reading this book or listening is very bleak and despairing. I couldn't binge this book. I feel like maybe some people could. I personally could not binge this book. It took me quite a long time to get through this. Margaret Atwood said that every single thing that happened in this book has happened in real life. The next book I want to talk about is I Found You by Lisa Jewell. This book, there's 1,000 point of views and past and present, and basically you're just trying to piece together this timeline. I'm just going to show you the back. Also, this says it's $20. I got it on sale for $10. I just wanted to point that out. So you can like pause this and read the back of this if you want. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of storylines. The main lady is, well, she kind of annoyed me a little bit, and I just felt like no one would really do what she did. Basically, she has a cottage out on the beach, and she looks out there and sees this random man, and she lets him stay with her and then leaves her back door unlocked so he can get inside if he wants. And she has 3 kids, and one of the kids she has is very little. Now, I'm not a mother, okay? So I don't know what it's like to be a mother, but I'm just saying, if I have a daughter and she's very little, I'm not letting some strange man around her. A man that you don't know who he is. He doesn't even know who he is. So that's in the present. And then in the past, there's this family, right? And there's this guy who's 19. And he basically is falling in love with like a 15-year-old girl. And so the 15-year-old girl's brother, who's in the family, is like, does no one else find this weird? And the parents are like, no, that's fine. This guy's like, he's literally 19 and she's 15. What's going on here? And they're like, it's fine. I was like, this poor guy. Hang on, I put down a page on here. And I've said absolutely not, but I don't know what it is. What did I say is absolutely not? Ew! Oh, I see it. I see what I was. He kisses her, morning breath and all. And she kisses him back. No. Absolutely not. Oh, I just realized there's an entire thing there. Thanks to all my lovely readers. Guys, this is like the first page. See, I really like the writing in this. I will continue to buy Lisa Jewell's books. They are very easy to read. They're books that are very bingeable as well, because it just feels like you can't really stop because the chapters are pretty short, and then it sort of everything ends on a cliffhanger each chapter, so you just want to keep reading. The ending, I'm not like, it's not a spoiler, it's bittersweet, and I feel like this author does this so well. It's like good endings, but it's not like happy, you know. And I think she does a good job of exposing the depraved nature of humanity, because there are people in all these books in the real world, you know. There are some authors who I'm like, I'm never ever buying from them ever again, but she's not one of them. The last book I want to talk about is the book I actually finished today, Hunger Games, The Mockingjay. This is the last book in like the original trilogy. So there's Hunger Games, Catch Me Fire, and Mockingjay. I do have the Songbirds and Snakes book, and I really want to read that because I did see the movie, and I did like the movie. I don't know how many times I can say that, but I did. Now, what do I think about this book?
One thing, I kept seeing Snow as young Snow, not the old guy.
I really like the Hunger Games books. I know that they're marketed towards like younger teenagers, and I'm 18, so I'm not really in the target demographic for this, but I really enjoy it. I think that everything is so well thought out, and I don't know why, but Suzanne Collins, in all of her books, she manages to make you cry. Like, I cried in the first one, I cried in the second one, and I also cried in this one. I really like the way that she writes. I like it, and I'm very excited to read Songbirds and Snakes, but I think I'm gonna wait until next year. Me saying it like it's a few days. I can't really say anything without spoiling, so I'm not going to say anything, because even though the book is really old, I still don't want to ruin the experience for someone, you know what I'm saying? But I would 100% recommend The Hunger Games. In the movie, right, the Songbirds and Snakes, Snow, it's like, wow, what a charismatic man, you know? But in the books, it's just like, ew. I can't remember if this was in the movie or not, but like in the books, Snow's like mouth is all like bleeding and everything. My mouth felt a little bit like it was bleeding because today I went out, right, and I had this like drink, and it was like chili tequila, and it had like chili flakes and stuff and salt. I love. So the books I talked about: The Housemaid, Powerless, Hooked. So these were all the books that I talked about. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.